with a service dog. We breaking barriers and barriers.
Welcome to the Actress with the Service Dog podcast. I am Renee Michaels, and in my last episode, I shared with you guys that I had the opportunity to be a guest on a local news segment to talk about what it was like being an actress with a service dog, as well as just, general service dog information. So I thought it might be kind of fun to break down that interview with you guys. So they actually did 2 interviews. One was the live version, which was about 3 minutes long, and then they did an extended version that they posted online after the live. So we're going to break down that longer one because it goes into some more details. There's a lot of information here. Bear with me. I'm hoping that you guys will learn a lot and we'll talk about it. Let's go.
And we are talking about struggling with anxiety and how a service dog can help in that.
All right, so we're going to stop there for a second. Didn't get very far in this. So I wanted to talk about anxiety for a minute. First of all, anxiety is a legitimate disability, according to the ADA, if it adversely affects your quality of life. In my case, I have debilitating anxiety. I will have panic attacks where I will end up not knowing where I'm at. My dog was originally for that purpose, to help me to find a way out of a store, to calm me down when I was having an attack. She had particular tasks that she did, and also to alert me to oncoming panic attacks. So that was her main purpose at the time. Since then, there's become more issues. There have become more issues. There's, more medical related issues that she has been alerting to, which I had found that she alerted to from the beginning, and I just didn't realize that what was going on. And we'll talk about that a little bit more, but I wanted to address the anxiety thing because I want people to understand that just because you have generalized anxiety, everybody gets anxious about something every once in a while. That doesn't mean you qualify for a service dog. We're again looking for something that adversely affects your quality of life. And they wanted in this news segment to really focus on the anxiety thing, even though I told them that that's not all she does, but they were super interested in the whole anxiety thing. So it makes it sound like that's all she does, and not that would be wrong if that is all she does, but it's not. So let's keep going.
Is actress Renee Michaels from Bartlesville alongside her service dog, Harper. Thank you for being here with us. So you're an actress. And when I think of an actress, I think of somebody who's outgoing, extroverted, thrives in the spotlight.
So most actors are pretty introverted, and it may not seem like it, but they are. And being an actor or an actress allows them to kind of express themselves in a safer state of mind. Like you're an actor and you're not playing yourself. You're playing somebody else who is more confident, who is more outgoing. So yeah, in real life, a lot of us are introverts.
Spotlight, but you actually have struggled with debilitating anxiety for years. What made you want to become an actress despite the anxiety?
When I was a kid, I've always wanted to be an actress, wanted to be on TV, wanted to be in movies, on stage, anything. I've struggled with anxiety since I was young, but I didn't know that's what it was. I thought everybody had that. Everybody struggled like I did, so it was normal. So I didn't think about, there's help or there's something I can do differently. And so it wasn't until I was an adult, actually fairly recently, that I was diagnosed and have debilitating anxiety, which is why I had a hard time getting out of the house. I would have panic attacks. I don't know why that word is so hard to say, debilitating. Yeah, I stumble over that quite often. I would wander aimlessly through the store, like, why am I here? Where am I? Things like that. And that's when it got really scary for me, when I realized something's wrong and I need to find out what's going on.
And you said a friend actually suggested a service dog.
Yes.
And you kind of thought about it, and obviously you decided that was the way to go. Talk about getting Harper and how she's changed your life.
Well, we got her, we lived in Branson for a while, so she's from that area. There's a breeder there. And we settled on Doberman for several different reasons. One of them also was because I just didn't want to do one of the Fab Four. I wanted to be different. It's always how I've been. I always want to be different.
What is the Fab Four? Sorry
the Fab
explain
Four.
What the Fab Four
so
is.
It's a Labrador Retriever, a Golden Retriever, a Standard Poodle,
and a collie, like a rough-coated or smooth-coated collie. Now, that interchanges with a German Shepherd sometimes, but that's debatable because German Shepherds can be a little too sensitive.
Those are the standard
Yes.
breeds for service
yes,
dogs.
Yes.
Okay.
So I didn't want one of those. I wanted to be different. So that's what I did, and I'm paying for it now. She's challenging in a good way. Yeah.
So how does she alert you? What does she do to let you know and to ease your anxiety?
When she senses that I'm getting ready to have an episode, she will, first she kind of stares at me and just will not stop staring. And then if I just kind of ignore that, she'll kind of boot me with her nose. And then if I ignore that, she starts hitting me with her foot until I pay attention. And so either I can just acknowledge that I know that she's alerting and I'm fine and I'll be okay, or I take action and get out.
Okay, so as I mentioned before, that originally she was tasking for anxiety, but it was different. I didn't realize what she was actually doing until recently, that she was alerting to a drop in blood sugar, and so that's where these alerts come from. That's what she was doing for those. She still did, tasks that were related to my anxiety, but the reason she did these tasks was because of the drop in blood sugar.
Out of, if I'm in the store, I'll just go, okay, we're leaving now, just to get out of a situation, because there's a lot of triggers that I don't know that I have yet. And so if she thinks that something is getting ready to trigger me, then I just go.
So how has she helped, and in talking with you, maybe in other ways hurt your acting career?
Helped, she's helped a little bit in the sense that people know who I am. Oh, she's the actress with the service dog, so they know that, and that's good, I guess. She's hindered me in that some people are not educated on service dogs, so they don't understand that what you're seeing is generally what she does. She would stay like this on set, so because they don't know that, they are hesitant to hire me because I have a service dog, because they just don't know what that means for them. So it's been challenging that one. It's happened a couple of times that I know for sure. Could be more. I'd have to ask my agent.
Well, she's actually starred in a film with you, so
not unusual. People, if they don't know what they don't know. So I think education is super important, and that's kind of why I do these podcasts.
she's an actress as well. What was it like working with her in that way?
Oh, it was fun. Of course, everybody loved her, and we were a lot more relaxed. I let her mingle with everybody because I wanted her comfortable with all the equipment and all the people around, and so she did.
Okay, so the movie is actually called Holy Flix, and I'm going to put a link in the description so that you guys can go and watch this if you want to. And it is a subscription service, but it's not that expensive. So it's a fun movie, so you definitely want to watch this. But this particular scene, which is cool, was the scene that they wrote into the story that I explain my service dog. Now, when the director contacted me about being in the film, and he asked me, he said, well, he actually stated that he knew that I had a service dog, and immediately I go into like protective mode, like in the sense of like, I really want this gig and I don't want to lose it because I have a service dog. So I can manage without her. I just have to pay more attention to what's going on, like with my body, and having her makes it easier so I can focus on like acting and things like that and doing my job. I don't have to worry about it. But if I have to go without her, I absolutely can. It just makes life easier to have her with me. So I had this, like, this is what I tell directors when I talk to them about my service dog, because I don't want to lose a gig. And so I said all of that to him, and he's like, oh, no. We want her to be there. We want your character to have a service dog, and which she didn't originally have. They just really loved the idea. And then, of course, what you're seeing right here, this is from the scene where they wrote in this whole extra scene so I could explain my service dog, which was pretty cool. And also, this guy here in the scene with me, his name is Brian Shoup. He's been in a lot of stuff, so look him up.
Great. It was a lot of fun. They even rewrote the script to add that my character had a service dog because she didn't originally. And so that was really fun. So they gave her some cute little scenes to do, and yeah, it was fun.
She got to play herself.
She did, and her name is Harper in the movie.
Oh, wonderful. She's also met a famous actor,
Yes.
Dennis Quaid. Talk about her getting to meet him.
So my husband and I were volunteering at the Mabee Center during the Gaither Homecoming concert. We were doing a merchandise booth, and Dennis Quaid's meet and greet was right by our booth. And so one of the ladies that works for Gaither, she brought us over there right before he was getting ready to leave, just to get our picture taken. So immediately he just went in with her, like he grabbed her face, went in on the. So I've got a picture.
Isn't that cute?
Of her kissing him on the face
That's
because
such
she's
a
like
cute
right
picture.
there.
I show this
so
picture
that's-
to a lot of
she's-
people
a
because
lot
I
of
love
people
it so
are jealous
much.
of her because she got to kiss Dennis Quaid.
Well, okay, but hearing that story makes me think of, okay, I came down here, I was like, I'm not going to touch Harper because she's a service dog. But then I also learned you shouldn't talk to service dogs and that you also shouldn't make eye contact. So talk about kind of the rules of engagement with
And that's the general rule. Like if you're gonna see us, if you see a service dog, you don't pet or anything like that. But honestly, I was not gonna tell Dennis Quaid no. I wasn't. And also I was kind of hoping that he would interact with her because I wanted a really nice picture and I got it. So it was totally worth it to me.
service dogs because it could be a matter of truly life or death for some people.
Yes, and in my case, that's not it. But if somebody distracts my dog when I'm getting ready to have a panic attack, that could be awkward for everybody. So it's just really important to just ignore the dog. It's hard. I know that because I love dogs. It's hard to when you see a dog to not like, oh, you know, puppy dog, you know, and say hi and all that. But it's really. It's just could be dangerous for the handler, and it's just people need to be respectful. You wouldn't do that if you saw somebody in a wheelchair. Oh, you know, oh look at your wheelchair. Can I touch it? You know, you don't do that. So it's the same thing. They're medical equipment. They help us with medical needs, and so just ignore them like they don't exist, and they don't need you to say hi. I have people like, I just had to come say hi. She was looking at me. No, you didn't have to come say hi. She doesn't care. She's not going to be upset. You know. But people can ask me.
So a lot of people feel like some service dog handlers are being overly dramatic about not letting their dogs being interacted with. But the reality is that there are handlers out there that it is a matter of life or death. If, you know, it could take just a split second for the distraction, you know, to cause them to miss an alert. And that's very dangerous for some handlers. And it's just super important to be respectful, like I said here.
Can I pet the dog? Usually I say no, but I can make exceptions, and most handlers will. You just kind of have to ask. Some will say.
And I get that a lot. I also get people doing, walk by waves at her as if she's going to wave back, or as if she's going to be like, acknowledge them. Yeah, it's funny.
Yes, some will say no, some don't care. It just depends on what the dog is used for.
Mm-hmm. And really, that's any dog that you see on the street,
Yeah.
service dog or not. You should ask before you touch a
Exactly.
dog because you don't know their temperament. But
Yes.
it's funny that you say that, people think, I've got to come say hi. She was looking at me because I would feel like, it's rude of me not to say hello to the dog, but it's really respectful to you. And
Yeah, I don't know why people assume that it's okay to interact with a service dog, but they'll ignore somebody walking their dog, in the park. Like, it could be the exact same breed, but the dog that they're drawn to is the one that's a service dog. You have to treat it the same way. If you're not going to interact with a dog you see out on the street, don't interact with a dog that belongs to a service dog handler.
to her work.
Yeah.
So I think that's great advice for people to take away. The health benefits from service dogs are great. They can help those with mental health, physical disabilities, health conditions. What's your best advice to someone who may be considering a service dog, and who all qualifies to have an actual working service dog? Because there's a difference between a service dog and a therapy dog.
Yeah, there's actually 3 different working dogs. This is therapy, emotional support, and a service animal. If somebody's going to qualify for a service animal, they actually have to have a disability. According to the ADA, you have to have a disability that adversely affects your quality of life. So if you can't, for example, somebody who might be visually impaired, they can't see, so they need a seeing eye dog. Somebody who has an invisible disability like me, I have to have her to help me just, do in the store. And if I have a panic attack or whatever, she can tell me, and that helps me a lot. So there's a lot of different disabilities, and the ADA lists some of those on the website. So if people are wondering if they have a disability that qualifies, you can't just be like, oh, yeah, I think I have.
And I would say that the majority of service dogs that you see, that their handlers have invisible disabilities. So don't assume that because they don't look disabled, that they don't need their service dog. And I get that a lot. It's always like, oh, are you training her for somebody else? Or they have to pry, well, why do you need her? And that's also rude. So don't ask a handler's disability. Don't ask them why they need their dog. Usually I just say medical alert, but without going into details, honestly, it's nobody's business. I mean, how comfortable would you be to talk about your medical history?
That I'm gonna get a service dog. So then there's like I said, there's the 3 different ones, and this is an important distinction. A service dog has to be task trained to mitigate their handler's disability. That's the law. They have to have a task that they do that helps their handler. Emotional support doesn't count. Makes me feel good. That doesn't count. That is not a task. A therapy dog works for groups of people. So like you take a therapy dog into a hospital or a school or a counseling session, they help multiple people. But neither the therapy dog nor the ESA have public access rights. It is illegal to take your dog that is not.
Emotional support animals are basically just pets, and any animal can be an emotional support animal, but you would need a doctor's prescription, lack of a better word, for an ESA, because the only reason that you would need something like that is for housing. So if you're renting an apartment, you're renting someplace that doesn't allow pets, if you have your doctor saying that you would benefit from an ESA, that your whatever pet you have is your ESA, then they have certain guidelines as to whether or not the landlord has to allow you to have your ESA, and that's it. No public access rights, no going into Walmart, no going into restaurants. That's illegal. And then if you're doing that, you're misrepresenting your pet as a service animal. And in many states, and hopefully soon all the states, it is a misdemeanor that comes with a pretty hefty fine.
A task-trained service animal into non-pet friendly places. You see it a lot. People try to fake their service dogs, and that is against the law. But people just either they don't realize it because some stores just don't enforce the ADA, but it really does cause problems for legitimate service dog handlers.
And it's selfish. I'm just going to say it. It's selfish for people to take their pets when they know that their pet is not a service animal. I'm tired of people playing ignorant. Well, I didn't know I couldn't bring him in. They didn't say anything to me. I didn't know. Well, you walk into a store, right when you walk up to a store, you see on the door, it says no pets allowed, only service animals allowed. You see that, it's there, and you walk in anyway with your pet, you are breaking the law because you know exactly what you're doing. It doesn't matter if they stop you. It doesn't matter if they mention it or acknowledge you or anything. None of that matters. You are breaking the law the minute you step foot into a store that is already marked as non-pet friendly.
If you bring your pet into a store.
Now, you trained Harper.
Yes.
That's not for everybody. Not everybody could train a dog. Would you recommend going the route of a dog that's already been trained?
It really depends. It's a financial thing because program dogs can cost upwards of $60,000, depending on where you get it and how much time it's spent in training. So the more affordable option is owner train, and legally you are allowed to owner train. It's just a lot of work, and you have to be able to do it. I went in with
and they have a long waiting list too.
My head in the clouds. I had no idea what I was doing, so I thought I could do this. I like dogs, and it's hard. It really is. And not only that, somebody who thinks they want a service dog, if they go into public, they don't know what it's going to be like, and it's very stressful when you bring your dog. I wish I didn't have to bring her, honestly. It's very stressful.
It's like having
dealing with
a
the public
baby
and
with you
just
all the
dealing
time.
with, any issues
All the
that we
time.
might have, access issues.
No breaks.
So somebody who might think that they qualify for a service dog and they've talked to their doctor and they've approved it, or they agree that the dog could help them.
Now, just to clarify, you don't have to have your doctor approve it or agree with it. it just gives you more credibility. It just gives you more sense of like, yes, this isn't something I'm making up. This isn't in my head, but it's not required.
My recommendation, and this was something that my friend did for me in Missouri, was go with somebody in public that has a service dog and see what they deal with and see if you can handle it. And that made a world of difference to me. And when I saw that, I was like, yeah, I think I can. Of course, I didn't quite see everything, and I can handle it. But it's really important for people to understand it is not, I'm going to take my dog and it's fun. It's not.
Yeah. Well, we all wish that our dogs could live forever, but there will be a time that you have to say goodbye. Are you already thinking of what you'll do next, and if it will be a Fab 4 service dog, or will you go back to a Doberman?
I have thought about it, and more than likely she'll retire before, anything else. And so I'm always thinking forward, like what happens, because she could retire anytime. She could retire this week. She'd be like, I'm done working. I don't want to do it anymore. And then I have to.
So that's where we're at right now. She's basically done working. So I have had to find a replacement, and I'll talk about that in just a minute.
To find something else. So I will definitely not get a Doberman. I do not recommend a Doberman as a service animal. I would much rather go with a dog that is easier to train, that's eager to please, because they have a mind of their own, which is great. You want them to do that. And Dobermans were bred to be personal protection, so you're working against that too. So a dog, one of the Fab 4, is definitely a direction I'm going to go. Probably Lab or Standard Poodle. I have 2 standards at home, which I love the breed. But
so I didn't do either of those. Yeah, we'll talk in a minute.
Side.
I guess you've got a little time. Hopefully
Yes,
she doesn't go
hopefully.
into retirement anytime
I know.
So yeah, she has. I mean, this is where we're at. I ended up with a smooth-coated collie, and that's a whole other video, which I'll go into maybe at some other point when I introduce him. I will not be changing my logo though, because Harper has been an integral part in my journey, and so she will always be my service dog. Just not necessarily in the professional sense anymore, but she's the one who started it all. So yeah, she will definitely stay on the logo, and maybe I'll add the other one, so we'll have 2 service dogs on there. But yeah, so let's keep watching.
Let's talk about your work. What are you working on? Anything right now? Anything exciting for this year, 2024?
I have some of my own projects, because not only am I an actor, I also write and direct my own productions. I have an award-winning web series that we shot several years ago, so I'm writing a spin-off of that, and we're going to start shooting that this year. I know for sure I have a project that I'm not allowed to talk about, but it's super exciting, and that's probably going to be towards the end of the year.
Okay, that's a good tease. Tell folks where they can find you if they're interested in learning more about your work.
All right. So if you guys have any questions or comments or thoughts on what I shared here today, let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like this video because it does help a lot. Subscribe to this channel, share it, whatever. As I mentioned before, I will have the links at the bottom in the description for all of the things, including the link to the short version of this interview that was live. And yeah, so I look forward to seeing you guys next time.